starving yourself is the worst thing you can do if you're wanting to lose body fat or lose weight. And I'm going to explain why.
All right, one thing I hear a lot when I'm talking to people that want to lose weight or lose fat, the first thing that comes to their head, like when they're trying to come up with a plan, is they want to either start skipping meals or reduce the amount of food they're going to eat.
Now, what I'm talking about now is not just taking a slight reduction in food, which that's just, or in calories, that's what you want to do. But people get this idea that they're just going to starve themselves and start skipping meals in order to lose fat. That's not going to work. You can't starve yourself and get to the goal that you actually are wanting to get at. All right, starving yourself is the worst way to go about it.
Anytime the body detects a severe drop in calories or you start skipping meals, something like that, your body's going to start adjusting to where it can run off of fewer calories because your body's programmed to survive. So if it keeps its metabolism high while you're cutting out too much food, then you're eventually going to waste away. So when you diet, you can't make extreme drops like that, because what happens is you'll see a little bit of results real quick and then they'll just stop. Your body is programmed to survive, and if it detects something that's kind of like an emergency or danger, it's going to adjust as soon as it can so it can keep performing the same functions. So if you take a huge cut in calories, eventually your body's going to learn how to do the same amount of work off of that amount of calories. Now, that is to a certain extent. I mean, if you completely starve yourself and just keep pushing and pushing, you'll eventually waste away. I mean, it will take longer as you progress because your metabolism's slowing down trying to adjust. But at the same time, your body can't make energy out of nothing. What usually happens in this situation is people lose a lot of muscle and don't lose that much body fat. Now, yeah, you've dropped 20 pounds that took you forever to get off, and now you're still muffin topping over your jeans. So, pretty much the original reason why you wanted to drop weight in the first place, you're still at that square one even though you're lighter on the scale. From my experience, when I've looked at people's health versus their body composition, the less muscle mass they have, the more body fat they have, usually the worse health they have. So they look small and everything, but on the inside they're extremely unhealthy. Usually because, they don't eat a lot, and what they do eat is garbage. Talking to people who are obese and learning about their daily habits when I'm doing consultations, assessments, whatnot, come to find out they don't eat much except for once a day. But during that once a day, they eat quite a bit. And in a sense, yeah, they're only eating so many calories, whatever, because you only eat so much at one time. But the body's already in that emergency state because it's only getting food once a day, so it starts storing all that stuff as body fat so it can run off of reserves. Because if it burns all off now, it doesn't know when it's going to get food later on down the road. The purposes of eating regularly, for starters, it gives your body the sense that it's going to keep getting food. Not only do you need to eat frequently, but you need to make sure you eat the right things. Because there are certain things you need every day. And some of those things the body cannot synthesize itself out of what you're eating. So you need to make sure you get certain nutrients and certain amounts of them every day. When you can do that, you have now taken away the reason for your body to store anything because it's regularly getting what it needs. When you start starving yourself, you're doing the exact opposite, and you're creating reasons for your body to store whatever it does get in. So yeah, you went from eating 3-4 times a day to once a day. That food once a day, once your body adjusts the metabolism and slows down, it's going to be able to store some of that as body fat so that it can run off of it later when you're not eating. When you guys just start cutting out food and start skipping meals and stuff, your metabolism slows down. Because if it didn't, you would be dead within a very significantly short amount of time. Now, like I said, when people do starve themselves and keep pushing, eventually, yeah, they do waste away, but I mean, it takes a while. And when they do, it's all their muscle mass has been gone. And most in their body fat, they've lost very little body fat. I've seen this. I've seen people that put on diets, their weight's going down, but they still look fat. But they still have body fat on them. And then when I go through talking to them, I find out they're missing their meals. So that's counterproductive because the main reason people want to lose weight is to lose body fat, and then you still got all your body fat, but your scale's gone down. Like I said, you lost 20 pounds, you're still puffing over the top of your pants. You just did all that for nothing. Now, I don't want to get too much into this topic, but one reason why people go the starving route is because they want to see numbers on the scale go down. So I'm not going to get too much into that because I'll go on a tangent, but that scale can be deceiving. It's not going to tell you the whole story. For you to be able to rely on the scale, you would have to be so consistent on every single action every day. It can be as little as you stayed up a little later and drank a little bit more water, and the next day you're a half a pound heavier. But at the same time, that doesn't indicate that you've gained any fat. The reason people lose a lot of muscle when they start starving themselves is because that's the easiest way for your body to adjust the metabolism. Because of course it takes more to maintain the muscle than it does body fat. So if it gets rid of the muscle, it can adjust the metabolism to what you're eating a lot quicker and get and because the body is seeing the starving thing as a problem, so it'll fix that problem faster by getting rid of muscle to adjust your caloric requirement for the day, so that you're no longer in a deficit, you're now at your normal. And that's the main reason why people see a drop and then it'll just stop right there, because now what was originally a deficit is now your everyday requirement. So now you're back to square one. And now you're starting to see the same problem happen, because the less muscle you have, the more body fat you have, the slower your metabolism is. So now that you made your metabolism slower, let's say you've dropped like 10 pounds and I've hit my goal, even though you still don't look like you want to, because you saw the number, you're kind of happy. Or you say, hey, I've been dieting for a while, so I'm going to go get something to eat that I want to eat, and then go back to dieting. Well, now that your metabolism is slower because of the way you've been dieting, when you eat that stuff, it's going to most likely be stored in fat than be used to recover and heal up and not hurt you that bad. So now that your metabolism is slower, when you do decide to splurge and have like a cheat meal or whatever, you can pretty much more guarantee it's going to turn into body fat. So you do that enough times and you're back to square one again. So as you can see, the starving thing just usually leads you back to where you started. And then you're back there. So for some reason, even though you see the indications that it's not working, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Now, that doesn't make sense. Not everybody knows how to drop weight and stuff. That's why there's people out there that are trained to help you with this. But for some reason, people want to get in this pissing contest and be like, well, I'll do it myself. And then you just keep repeating the same patterns over and over again. And you never get to see that goal. And then you start believing that you're never going to get there. And then you just fucking quit. Okay, some of the common myths that go with this, starvation, reducing, skipping food, whatever. The whole you can't eat before bed, you have to be on an empty stomach to go to bed, that's bullshit. Alright? When your body sleeps, it does certain things to heal and recover. If it does not have the nutrients to do that, then it really has no reason to sleep, really. Because most of the things that it does while you're sleeping, you don't have the nutrients to do that with. People notice when they start overtraining or undereating until their metabolism adjusts, they have trouble sleeping. And that's one of the indications that I see if I say, okay, you need to eat more. If somebody's telling me, I haven't been able to sleep, I've been on this diet, okay, you need to bump it up a little bit, because that's not a good indication. Now, once your body has burned off muscle, whatever, to adjust the metabolism, you'll start feeling fine again. But your body's in a shittier state at that point. That's one other thing that I've seen with people is they'll start a diet by reducing their food too much, and they feel like crap, and they're seeing some results, and all of a sudden they start feeling great. Yeah, your metabolism just adjusted. You're now back to square one. Congratulations. One thing I've noticed a lot when I start working with people is they're not eating everything they need in the first place. So when you're already not eating what you're supposed to have, and your first solution that comes to your head for wanting to lose weight is take out stuff, I mean, look to see if you're getting everything to start with. A lot of reasons that people have all these health problems and stuff is because, they may be eating a lot, but they're not eating what they're supposed to be getting. Your body needs certain nutrients for certain reasons. I've said in previous videos, the first thing I do with people is I put them on a baseline diet so that they get everything: carbs, protein, fats if needed, omega-3, omega-6 fats, all that stuff within the first week. And they start feeling better. Most of the time they drop some weight or they look better. Even if their weight stayed the same, you can tell they've lost some body fat. Their muscles fill out, they start looking better, feeling better, they're primed, and that's actually how you're supposed to feel every day. And people don't realize that because they either push themselves so hard or take out so much food and stuff, they've gotten used to feeling like shit. So the first thing before you start dieting is I have to prime their metabolism and get them up to par so that I can start getting them on a diet. People out there thinking they eat like a fucking gerbil, they're gonna look like amazing within 3 weeks. This shit doesn't happen, all right? It doesn't happen. If it did happen, everybody would be fucking doing it. if you went around and saw everybody starving and looking like supermodels and bodybuilders and shit, or some of these more aesthetic looking guys, then everybody would be doing it. And that's not the case. You don't look around, you don't see that everywhere. You know why? Because it doesn't work. Everybody that looks a certain way and looks the way they want to bust their ass and follow some kind of program in order to look like that. That's just how it is, and you got to get over it. There's no shortcuts. All right, so if you guys out there thinking you're just gonna not eat as much and work harder and you're gonna get what you want, you're in for a shitty disappointment. Let me tell you, because it's not gonna work. I've went into some explanation explaining why. And I know some of y'all still ain't gonna believe me, but one of these days you'll look through and see the pattern. You'll wake up and you'll start doing your own research. You start seeing somebody for help. I mean, people, you got to remember, if you don't eat, eventually you die. I mean, that's a stretch. According to, I know when you think about dieting, and then it's not to that extreme, but if you use that concept and kind of backtrack a little bit. Okay, well, if I don't eat at all, I'm eventually going to die. So if I start cutting things out and skipping meals and working towards that goal, then eventually, my body's going to get in a shittier state. If that makes sense. Don't be afraid to eat. I mean, usually if you eat clean, you can get away with eating more. Now, there's certain ways you have to eat to do that. I'll give you that much. And that's where people mess up. Not the fact that they're eating, but they're not eating correctly. Because it's calorie in, calorie out, like I've said earlier videos, is bullshit, and it only works under certain circumstances, and you have to meet those circumstances, meaning you have to be eating the right things and doing the right stuff in order for that to be working. You can't just eat 1,000 calories worth of candy and expect to lose all this weight. That sentence right there doesn't make sense. All right, so if you think that, you think, oh, that'll work, no, there's something wrong. So just to recap, you can't just cut food out. You can't starve yourself, because your body will start slowing down its metabolism. Yes, it'll keep going down, but you'll notice, like, you'll see a sudden drop, and it goes down slower and slower and slower. Your body's slowly eating itself away the more you keep pushing it with no food. And because of that, your metabolism gets even slower, and then when you decide to reintroduce any type of food, it's going to be stored as fat because your metabolism's so slow. Oh, and then next thing you know, you're back to square one, doing it all over again. If you really want to lose fat, lose weight, and actually look better, feel better, and you don't know all the science stuff behind it, go see somebody. You guys will pay all this money for supplements that somebody advertises on TV and stuff thinking it's a quick pill, but you won't spend the equal amount of money on a trained professional that knows how to get you there with just food and exercise. So I think I've made my point. That's pretty much it for now.